So today's video is extremely special to me because this is the first video that I have posted in an entire year. I've been gone on a hiatus from YouTube, from creating content in general, and it was much needed. I got my rest. I got my reset that I really needed away from social media, content creation in general. And not only am I finally back for good, but I am changing the vibe / content of this channel. Last year I was doing more wellness content, and while I'm still a wellness girly, I realized that that's not the type of content that I actually want to put out anymore. So now the type of art that I will be creating for this channel will actually be more geared towards books, philosophy, art, obviously all mediums of art, writing, film, perfumes, candles, and more. I would say anything that just makes my heart go ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Making this type of art for my YouTube channel will allow me to become the connoisseur, the scholar of these things that I have interest in. So I like to look at this channel as my diary, journal / holding me accountable to learn these things that I want to learn. So I am no scholar, I am no professional, I'm no connoisseur yet. I have so many interests, but sometimes I can let the world wrap me up in its vortex of just material things. This corner, this vibe that I'm going for this little corner of the internet, I like to call it my little anti-chaos corner, which is kind of funny because we will be talking about some chaotic things when it comes to maybe philosophy and books, but not the type of chaos that is going on in the media and politics. While those things are extremely important, I am extremely exhausted from them, and I just want to create this to, I guess, in a way, a form of escapism. Whether that's good or bad, it is what it is. So I know you came here for my September favorites, so we're gonna hop right into that right now. So September for me was one of those transitional months, I want to say. It was so hard to place what vibe I was going for, because it was right in the middle of summer and fall. So a lot of things that I'm going to be showing you today will reflect that middle ground, or it will reflect the warmness of summer, but also the coolness and probably the darkness of fall. So bear with me because it's kind of a whiplash. So first, I did not consume that much this month. I was really busy, and I've been very intentional about what I'm consuming these days, so this video would not be long at all. So the first book that I will go ahead and introduce is one of the craziest books that I have probably picked up, and that is Perfume, The Story of a Murderer. This was a different experience. Well, first I'll tell you what it's about without any spoilers, of course. So this is a dark gothic novel set in 18th century France. It has a lot of themes when it comes to obsession, creation, scent, hence the name Perfume. A dark obsession, might I add. So the main character in the story is a young boy who was born without a scent, but he has the capabilities of smelling so deeply, actually so deeply that it's beyond human capabilities. This gift that he has allows him to smell on so many different layers that is sometimes mind-boggling. And I'll give you some examples once I'm done giving you the rundown of the book. He grows up with this extraordinary sense of smell, right? So much so, he becomes obsessed with smells, how they're formulated, and he decides that he wants to create the perfect perfume. He would do anything to create that perfume, even if it means unaliving people. So that is the premise without spoiling the book for you. This book is really just about, like I said, obsession, but like that dark obsession. And aside from how great the story is, I will love to highlight how amazing the writing is. It's like the author sometimes talking like the stream of consciousness. It's really hard for me to really put into words, but the writing is so beautiful. It's poetic, and I don't believe I had an experience like this since Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I would like to argue and say that these two books are extremely similar, and they have a lot of difference, yes, but when it comes to that obsession of creation, both of these books give me that exact same vibe. So like I said, dark, obsession, poetic. And we know Frankenstein has those things. This book feels like writing at a desk surrounded by old perfume bottles, like extremely old and ancient perfume bottles, while also living in 18th century France. This was one of those darker books that lean more towards a fall feel. But yeah, definitely try this book out. One of my favorites. I would love to read it again. I even tapped it a little bit. So this is the cover in case you need to go and pick it up. The next book that I want to talk about is a book that I'm listening to. I don't have it physical. And I believe you guys all know it and may even love it. I am late to the game, so don't talk about me. But it is The Hobbit. And I would love to sit down here and break the book down and tell you what I love about it and all that jazz. But I'm going to tell you right now, I do not fully know what it's about. Now, I can explain. I bought the audiobook because I was transitioning into that fall feel and I wanted a cozy feel, right? And I have the audiobook with the I forgot the name of the guy who actually is the narrator, but he's an older man, and when I tell you, it sounds like someone's grandpa is reading a bedtime story to me or just a cozy story to me by the fire. It really sounds like that. And the reason why I cannot tell you what exactly it is about is because every time I turn it on, I fall asleep. I fall asleep. So I just wanted to mention The Hobbit because I really have been enjoying it. I'll pick back up where I left off every time I turn it on, and they're just on these crazy adventures, and I don't even care to know what's really going on and to piece everything in chronological order. But I had to mention it because it's one of the coziest. Oh, it's so cozy. It's so cozy. And like I said, it really goes out to the narrator, and I'll put the narrator's name up here somewhere so you guys can know, but he does a great job. And I feel like that if you really want something cozy, especially for this cozy season that's coming up, I highly recommend listening to The Hobbit. I promise Be you, beware though. But beware though. You will fall asleep. I told you, I warned you, so you can't say I didn't warn you. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is a movie that I really, really enjoyed this month, and that is This Beautiful Fantastic. I'm cheesing right now because I really enjoyed the visuals. So the main character, I believe, is implied that she has OCD, and that means that she's pretty much locked into a lot of her routines in her daily life. Everything has to be perfect and neat and organized. The dilemma comes in when her landlord tells her that she has to clean her garden or she'll be evicted. Now, mind you, she does not go outside. She hates bugs. It's not her thing. Without spoiling the movie, obviously, you know, her task is to make a garden or just make it presentable, clean it up in about a week, or she'll be evicted. This movie itself, just the visuals were amazing. That was my favorite part of this movie, was the visuals. I love cinema, and I really love colorful, warm movies, especially in the summertime. So this is one of those monthly favorite things that kind of went more towards the summer. Like I said, it is a rom-com, but it very much touched on a lot of things like friendship and self-growth, and also just getting out of your box and out of your shell. And that was something that I really needed at the time, because I was just like her when it came to staying in my box and in my shell. So I highly recommend go watching this movie. I mean, everything I put on this list, I'm going to highly recommend. So now really quickly, I want to run off a few podcasts that I've been listening to lately. The first one is Sherlock Holmes. So the podcast is called Sherlock & Co., but I've also been pairing it with one of the original Sherlock Holmes series, and I believe it's from the 80s. And what I've been doing is this cool little fun thing where I'll listen to the Sherlock Holmes & Co. podcast, which is more modern and set in present day, I believe London, while the Sherlock Holmes from the 80s is set in more of the Victorian era. It was really a wonderful experience because I get to first listen to the modern day version of one of the stories and then go watch the 80s version, and I can kind of cross-reference some things they changed, some things they swapped out. I also love looking at old films, and the aesthetic is just gorgeous and is very comforting, and it reminds me of how a lot of things today kind of lack some of the charm that the movies, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are familiar with Sherlock Holmes, and if not, you definitely should listen to the podcast. And I should mention too that my Sherlock Holmes slight obsession came from watching House, and I'm not sure if you guys know this because I just found out, but House is based off of Sherlock Holmes. At least his character is, and I am obsessed with House, and not just the actual show, but his character. How his character is written is extremely satisfying to me, and I love the way he comes to conclusions, even if it's realistic or not. And then I found out that Sherlock Holmes was the exact same way. Hence why you have Dr. House, Sherlock Holmes. Hence how you have Dr. Watson and you have Wilson. It's a lot of similarities between House and Sherlock Holmes, and that's how I found Sherlock Holmes. I know, again, I'm late to the party with Sherlock Holmes, but bear with me, okay? I'm introducing myself to a lot of classics these days. So I do want to read the Sherlock Holmes book one day. some of the original novels, just to also cross-reference all three at the same time. But yeah, this has been one of my fixations, and it's been just a great way to pass time and not get on social media. So my next podcast that I've been loving, and I've actually been listening to this podcast on and off for the past few years, but I just picked it back up because cozy season is here. It's back again. This is one of my favorite cozy podcasts, and it's called "This Is Why We Drink." This podcast is hosted by two best friends who have a love for horror, history, and also true crime. Now, true crime is really having this moment right now, and I used to be obsessed with true crime growing up, so I have stepped back away from it a tad bit, but the way both of the hosts present the stories are so great and so funny. They're hilarious. One of my favorite segments of the show is the horror / history part. That's what one co-host or one friend does. And it's one of my favorite because I love history, but I love horror as well. So maybe she'll speak about a haunted house, but she'll give the history / lore of a house. And I love a good lore. And then, like I said, the next friend will come with a true crime story. So it's just paired very well. And it's one of my favorite cozy podcasts ever. So the last podcast that I want to mention is it's more of a sleep cast, I guess. It's called The Sleepy Bookshelf, and they have all of the original like stories on there, like Anne of Green Gables, Pride and Prejudice, Winnie the Pooh, The Wizard of Oz, and my personal favorite is Alice in the Wonderland. When I tell you that, guys, I'm so embarrassed to say, but I have been stuck on the Alice in Wonderland story the entire month, and particularly the part where Alice meets the mock turtle. Why that is my favorite part, I have no clue. But the narrator, she has this soft and cozy vibe about her, which I love. And like I said, I've been obsessed with the one part because she does put them in parts. So I believe Alice in the Wonderland is 6 parts. And I am stuck on this one part when Alice meets the mock turtle. And the mock turtle speaks about his time in school. And like I said, I have no clue why, but I've just been obsessed with that one part. It puts me right to sleep. It's literally my favorite part. And I think because it's the most absurd thing ever. Like he says that he went to school in the sea, and he learned reading and writing. I guess it's supposed to be a spin on reading and writing, but anyways, yeah, I've been obsessed, a little bit too obsessed with that part of Alice in the Wonderland. I turn it on every night and I just fall right asleep, and I never finish. Just like The Hobbit, I never finish it. For this last segment, I want to get more into my favorite scents. I want to get more into my favorite scents of this month, and that's going to consist of a perfume and a few candles. So the first one that I want to bring up is Mochi Milk by Dead Cool, and it's one of those soft skin scents. I really have been loving skin scents lately. It's translucent. Okay. I've been really loving skin scents lately, and this one is one of those perfumes that sits well with September because, like I said before, that middle ground between warm summer and then the fall approaching. Oh, God. Okay. This perfume has notes of marshmallow, peach, vanilla, musk, and I believe rice. I'm gonna put the chart up here to show you. But if I had to say that, if I had to imagine what this perfume smells like, it smells like wearing a pink fluffy dress, laying down, being soft and gentle on these huge pink, just fluffy cotton candy clouds. I don't know how I got that, but that's what I get from this. It's super sweet. And I feel like for the peach, I couldn't smell it at first, but I do smell it now. But yeah, it's been literally my favorite scent this whole entire month. You can see the dent that's in it. If this was a woman, she would be like nice and sweet and twirl around in her pink fluffy dress. Next is a candle by Better Homes and Garden, which is the Walmart brand. Goodness, it's almost gone. I'm so sad. It's almost gone. But this is amber and saffron. And first of all, let's check out this. This red is just, it's so cozy and luxury at the same time. And that's exactly how this scent comes up. I'll put some pictures up on the screen just to give you more of what I think of it visually. What I see visually when I smell it. That's how I like to communicate how scents smell, is I think of either scenery or a person in a scenery. So for this one, it just smells like a beautiful woman who's wearing like this long red dress. It could be, I don't know, a velvet dress for some reason. And maybe she's in like this Roman architecture type of building, but definitely luxury. It has notes of amber, almond, jasmine, saffron, cedarwood. I don't smell the cedarwood that much. I'm not really a big fan of cedarwood, so it's not that strong whatsoever. But this candle is the epitome of cozy and luxury at the same exact time. You know, if you guys like saw me like in my house, if you guys was able to peek into my house right now or in just random times, you would think I'm a creep because I just smell stuff like the stuff that I love, like my candles and perfume. I just pick them up sometimes and just smell them. The next candle that I have is again by Better Homes and Gardens, like I said, Walmart brand. This one is called Soft Cashmere Amber. One thing I'm gonna always love is a good amber. Me and Amber, we go together like this. Me and Amber. So this one has bergamot, amber, citrus, sandalwood, patchouli, peppercorn, and moss. Again, I'll put pictures up because right now I cannot put it into words of what I visualize when I smell this, but these two candles are extremely cozy. This one is more of like I want to wrap up in a blanket next to a fireplace in a cabin type of cozy. While this one is just like, hey, let's go somewhere luxury and be cozy. I don't know. So those are my 2 cents. And to wrap up this video, I just want to let you know about I just want to reflect on my personal curriculum that I did this month. So personal curriculum is really having its moment right now, and I love it. I'm a little nervous because I do not like when some of my favorite things start trending, but I'm gonna have good faith about it. So I will not go into details about my personal curriculum for this video. Please let me know if you want me to make a separate video about it, because it can be a whole separate video. But one of the best things that I've started back doing is self-learning, learning for fun, research for leisure, and that includes my personal curriculum. And I started this month off with having a full syllabus, but I realized very quickly that I rather pick my subjects and have a syllabus and then allow myself to be flexible with that syllabus. So this month I started studying existentialism. Specifically, I started studying Sartre and his view on existentialism in general. So one of the subjects I honed in on was bad faith. And like I said, I will not go into details about anything. And I would love to just yap and rant and talk about things like this subject if you want me to make a separate video. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm just learning, and it's just fun to talk about stuff that I'm learning with you guys. Yeah, anyways, thank you for coming to my show and tell, and I appreciate you for being here. Good evening and good night.